What's going on, guys? Jaguar here. Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to do a full day of eating video. So I'm just going to go through everything I eat. Today is a Saturday, so I do eat a little differently on the weekends. Actually, I think I eat a little less food in general because I get up later. I still go to bed relatively early, but I am sleeping later in the morning, so I actually have a smaller window in which to eat on weekends. I do splurge a little more as far as the foods I eat. I'll eat a little bit more fun foods, let's just say. But I don't really do any major, like any scheduled cheat meals or cheat days during the week. If, occasionally I want pizza, I'll have pizza. That might be once a month, if that, but one of my weaknesses is burgers. I do love burgers, so I will make sure I eat a burger a week just because I could eat more, but that's a healthy amount. And when I do, I'm not eating a burger with fries and all that. I'm not letting myself splurge that much just because the burger is what I truly enjoy. Of course, I like fries like everybody does, but the burger is what I really want. So I'll do a burger, and then I might do some rice with it, or a potato, or a little bit of pasta, small serving of pasta, something like that. But anyway, so like I said, it is a Saturday. I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna have some coffee first. I am on what is basically like a maintenance diet right now, just to maintain my weight. So I'm eating about 2,500 calories a day. Again, sometimes it might be a little bit lower on the weekends. So we'll say like 23 to 2,500. And I will admit that some nights I wake up in the middle of the night and want a midnight snack, and it helps me get back to sleep. So then I've left myself a little bit of room. If I've eaten 2,300 calories and I get up and have a 100 to 200 calorie midnight snack, it's not really gonna hurt me any. So I'm also gonna, I'm working out today. I'm gonna get some steps in, and so let's get to the video. So I'm going to start the day with a black coffee made in the French press. I don't use the French press very often, especially during the week when I can just use the coffee maker. It's easier and quicker. And this thing's a little bit of a pain to clean. So I'm gonna enjoy this cup of coffee, and then on to meal number one. Okay, so we're starting out here with meal number one. I'm gonna make a breakfast burrito. So I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna use one whole egg. Sometimes I'll do two. It just depends on how much fat I wanna get in there. Okay, and then I could not find my measuring cup, so I'm just gonna estimate about a half a cup of egg whites. I like doing the egg whites just because it's simple. You don't have to separate the eggs. Gets me a good amount of protein. Eggs themselves are high quality protein. It does help if you get some yolk in there also, like I said. So I'll usually do at least one whole egg. Sometimes I'll do more depending on how I'm feeling and how many calories I want for that breakfast. All right, we're gonna take this over. Okay, got our stovetop going here. Got a little avocado spray. We'll let that warm up just a bit. And we'll go ahead and get our tortilla ready over here. Got these carb balance tortillas. They're only 70 calories each, which isn't too bad. I'll sometimes get the larger ones. These are medium size. But I do like this, this Mission brand. These are good. I found some of the lower carb tortillas that I don't enjoy as much. For some reason, the texture tends to be a little weird on those. So, but I do like these. Also with cheese, sometimes I'll buy just the really basic cheese here. And then sometimes I'll also buy the low fat or fat free cheese. But this, I just tried not use too much there. Okay, so we've got our tortilla. Got a little bit of paste sauce here. Okay, now we're gonna come back over. All right. And we are slowly heating up here. All right, our eggs are cooking up here nicely. Just gonna add a little bit of salt here. Sometimes if I have some turkey bacon, I'll go ahead and cook up a little turkey bacon, break it up and put it in my breakfast burrito. Sometimes I'll just eat it, you know, with my breakfast. Also, sometimes I'll get sausages too, like the turkey sausages. Same thing, I'll cook it up and throw it in my breakfast burrito. I'm a big fan of breakfast burritos, by the way. This one's going to give me about 25 grams of protein between the eggs and the cheese. We get about, like I said, 25 grams of protein. And then I'm going to do a little bit of, after I eat this, I'm going to make a little bit of oatmeal. I tend to overdo it a little bit here with the eggs as far as like actually fitting the eggs in the tortilla, but it works. I eat it all, and like I said, it's pretty tasty. I enjoy that. All right, gonna eat my breakfast burrito here, and then we're gonna move on to part 2 of meal 1. Okay, as promised, here is part 2 of meal 1. Again, without my measuring cup, I'm just gonna estimate it here. Later in the day, if I need it, I will find it before my later meals. I'm gonna go ahead and put some water in this, and I do typically just do my oatmeal in the microwave. It's just easier. I'm just gonna estimate the amount of water here. All right, our oatmeal is out of the microwave. I do have these. I did find the small measuring spoons, but still not the full measuring cup. We're gonna use about, probably, let's see, at least a tablespoon of honey in this. I think a tablespoon is probably good, actually. So I'm gonna put some honey in it. I just vary what I put in my oatmeal. And, you know, depending on what else, some days of the week, I will just have the oatmeal for breakfast. And when I do, I'll typically do overnight oats, and I'll put some protein powder in it too. So I can usually get, you know, about close to 30 grams of protein just in my overnight oats. All right, and then we're gonna got some blackberries. We'll put a couple giant blackberries in there. Let's do 3. And then also some blueberries. Just some good, you know, high nutrient fruits here, and won't contribute to the calories terribly. And I kind of mix it up with the fruit too. I do blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, sometimes raspberries, especially as far as berries go. And I'll eat those in cottage cheese. Sometimes when I eat cottage cheese, I'll eat fruit in it. And then also oatmeal. And even when I do my overnight oats, I usually put some fruit in it too. So it's usually just oatmeal, and I'll put milk in it for overnight oats. A little bit of, just depending on how much protein I want to get in it, a scoop of protein powder, half a scoop, whatever. And then I'll put some fruit in there and let it sit overnight. All right, I'm gonna enjoy this oatmeal, and then I will be right back. All right, so that's gonna do it for meal number 1. That was about 35 grams of protein in that meal, and about 570 calories. I don't normally break down all my macros. I typically, if I'm tracking my protein and my total calories, then I'm usually fine. And as I told you at the start, as far as, you know, my protein goals for the day, as long as I'm hitting my protein goals and my caloric goals, like I said, I don't typically count, you know, carbs and fats. I really probably could have added one more egg in that, you know, one more whole egg in that breakfast to, you know, get a little bit more fat, but that was a pretty good first meal. So I'm gonna go hit the park and get a walk in, you know, get some steps in for the day, since it is a weekend day, and I'll be back for meal number 2. Just a quick check-in from the park where I'm getting my steps. This is a very pretty park. It's not far from where I live. I come here 4 or 5 times a week to get in some steps. And also come here, I shoot some of my video shorts here, as well as some of my intros and outros. Like I said, very nice park. Got a little lake here. After this, I'm gonna go run a couple errands, head back home for meal number 2, head to the gym after that. And then later today, I think I'm gonna go to a different park. Since it's a weekend, I've got plenty of time. I don't have a lot to do this weekend, so I'm gonna go to a different park where I shot one of my early videos, the outdoor obviously, speed training and, you know, power training, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go and do some hill sprints and a few other things. I find it to be a nice little workout park, you know, to do some different things. This one, I usually just do my steps at this park, but there, because I can do the hill sprints, then they actually have a couple playgrounds too, and I'll do a few, you know, calisthenic exercises at the playground. And all right, be back in a few. So as you can see here, one of my errands today was to wash and detail the Catmobile. Came out looking pretty nice. I even polished up my little Jaguar there, and no, that was not a euphemism. And next we're heading to the gym. All right, so here we are at park number 2 today. Really beautiful day out. And I actually came to this park before going to the gym. I have not gone to the gym yet. I'd planned to do that first, but the gym is open all day and this park will close at sunset. So I figured I'd get it in before sunset. I've done 3 hill sprints so far, getting ready to do a couple more. May do a little bit other training here, kind of just do some stuff for fun, and then I'll head home and then to the gym in a little bit. So where I am right now is at the top of, it's like a ceremonial Indian mound, Native American, obviously. So that's where I do the hill sprints. It's got a good little paved path coming up the hill, and it's pretty steep. It's a pretty good hill. So see you in a bit. So since it's a Saturday, I do tend to eat a little more fun foods, a little tastier foods. So for my lunch, I'm going to have, or meal number 2, however you want to look at it, I'll usually eat 4 or 5 times a day. I don't really consider, what's a meal and what's a snack. Usually it's, between 2 and let's say 500 calories per meal, I guess. So like I said, whatever, it is what it is. But anyway, so for meal number 2, I'm gonna have this sweet apple chicken sausage. These things are pretty tasty. They're only 120 calories, 12 grams of protein, and only 4.5 grams of fat. So not bad macros. I'm gonna have that for lunch, and I'm gonna have, with just a little bit of mustard. Mustard is very low calorie, especially just plain yellow mustard, very low cal. So I'm just gonna put some yellow mustard on there, eat that, and then I'm gonna have it with these Quest protein chips. Most of their chips are pretty good. They're actually pretty tasty. I really like the sour cream and onion. These are my favorite of the protein chips. Although, like I said, I really like most of their flavors. And then 140 calories per bag with 19 grams of protein. So this meal is gonna give me about, let's say 40 grams of protein. So, because the buns, where's the buns? Yeah, so I've got these keto buns. I don't do keto. I don't specifically do a keto diet, but these are a little bit lower carb and they are higher protein also. So I think there's 9 grams of protein per bun, 70 calories and 9 grams of protein. 16 grams of carb, but 13 of those are fiber. So pretty good numbers there too. So we're looking at this whole meal here is only going to be, and I'm just going to drink water with it. So this whole meal is only going to be about 330 calories. Pretty low cal meal actually. And like I said, about 40 grams of protein, 9, 12, and 19. So yeah, really not a bad meal, honestly, and pretty tasty. I like these apple chicken sausages. So I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna move on to the next part of my day. All right, so I'm mixing up my protein shake here before I head to the gym. Just gonna go with, sometimes I'll do water in my protein shake, sometimes I do 2% milk. I prefer it taste-wise with the milk. Just makes it a little creamier, a little more flavorful. I'm just using honestly a cheap whey protein powder. I prefer vanilla, but sometimes I'll mix it up too. I like the Fruity Pebbles flavored protein powders. I'm gonna go with almost a whole scoop here. So it's 30 grams of protein per scoop. So that's gonna be, probably 25 or close to 20, 25. And then 8 grams of protein, give or take, with the 2% milk. And then I'm also gonna go with a scoop of collagen peptides. I do that just for the potential joint benefits. I know that's not completely proven as to whether collagen actually helps your joints or not, but if it does, well, it's not very expensive. So again, I'm taking that just to kind of, my joints are pretty healthy, but I just want to keep them that way potentially. So, all right, got the protein shake ready. Gonna head to the gym. I am doing I'll go into the details of my workout a little bit more in the next video. I think I mentioned in a previous one that I'm now doing a power building style workout. So it's power lifts. I'm doing the power lifts, a bench press, squat, and deadlift. And I'm doing those in a 5x5 manner, so I'm going a little heavier on those and, you know, doing lower reps, obviously. And then the rest of my workout is more bodybuilding styled. So more like three to four sets of 8 to 12 reps, doing a couple different exercises per body part. Again, as I've told you, as I've said in previous videos, where I do tend to lose a little bit of size if I go on a full, complete powerlifting style routine. So that's why I like the power building routine, because it allows me to build a little more strength doing the power lifts, but then maintain my size. Because really, I've done just pure powerlifting routines before, and my arms got smaller. So, so I'm doing a little bit of bodybuilding in there too. So, all right, and I will be back for my next meal. All right, now we're here for meal number 3. Quick note on meal number 2, when I talked about you know, what I eat on the weekends as opposed to during the week. During the week, I'll eat for my lunches or for my second meal. I typically eat some ground beef mixed with just mixed vegetables. I'll do that like 2 to 3 days a week, and then the other days I do chicken mixed with mixed vegetables. The beef, I put in a little soy sauce. The chicken, I'll do a little barbecue sauce. But that's my typical weekly lunches. So now we're on to meal number 3. I cooked up some, it's garbanzo bean pasta, and it's actually pretty good. It's got like 11 grams of protein per serving. This is just a little bit less than what it considers a serving, so that's gonna be about 10 grams of protein. And then I'm gonna just throw some greens on it. It's just some mixed greens here. Some baby spinach and baby kale. Yeah, maybe throw a little bit more on there. And then I just bought some already cooked fajita chicken, and I'm gonna throw that on top, and then maybe throw a little dressing on there. All right, so I don't have my scale. And there's 2.5 servings in here, which are about 19 grams of protein per serving. So I'm just gonna, you know, tear up the chicken, put it on top here. And I'll do about half of this container. That should give me total, that should give me, you know, over 30 grams of protein, which for the day, that's gonna put me at about, let's see, 40, 35, 75. So this will put me at about 105, 110 grams of protein, depending on how much I end up with here. And then after I'm head to the gym after this. I know I've been saying that all day, but I am gonna go to the gym after this, and then I'll have a protein shake after the gym. That'll give me, you know, what's that? That's probably 40 grams of protein in that protein shake. Okay, let's get a couple more smaller pieces here. Because as I told you, I used almost a full scoop of the whey protein powder, and then a scoop of collagen protein plus the cup of milk, which is going to be, you know, 8 to 10 grams of protein also. Okay, and we're going to just put some dressing on that. All right, we'll put some, this Greek vinaigrette on there, and we'll see how that is. And then I'm gonna eat this. Oh, I didn't put my tomatoes on there. These are cocktail tomatoes. They're actually on a vine. So I'm just gonna throw a couple on here. I like tomatoes. Tomatoes are good. Good for you. And we'll go with 3 tomatoes. And then I'll put the dressing on here. I'm gonna have this meal and hit the gym, and then I'll be back on here for meal number 4. So this is gonna be my last meal of the day. I'm at about 140, somewhere in that range of grams of protein today. And right now, I'm honestly on about 1,800 calories. So I'm very low still. So I'm gonna have this Chobani yogurt. I love the Chobani yogurt. 20 grams of protein. There is a new brand of yogurt called Ratio, and they have 25 grams per container. And I get it, I buy it too. Chobani has a little bit better flavors, and it's just a little bit creamier. Just kind of prefer the Chobani to the Ratio. The Ratio is good too though, but like I said, they do have a few more different, flavors in the Chobani. It gives me a little more variety. And then I'm gonna make a peanut butter sandwich just to finish off, and that'll be about 400 calories. The yogurt is 140 with 20 grams of protein. So I'm gonna end up with the goal being of my body weight in grams of protein, which is 170. I'm gonna hit right at about 170 grams of protein. My protein shake was about 40 to 43 grams of protein, somewhere in there, and about 350 calories that I had right after my workout. So that was a pretty good day. I'm surprised that I'm this low. Sometimes I don't eat quite as much on the weekends because even though I do splurge a little bit more on the foods that I eat, I'm eating in a slightly shorter window because I get up early on weekdays, and so I'm actually up a little bit longer, and I typically will have one more meal in there. I've actually been pretty full today though with what I ate, so I feel pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna finish off, have this peanut butter sandwich and then this yogurt. All right guys, so that's gonna do it for today's video. I ended up at around about 2,300 calories and about 170 grams of protein, so that was just about right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Click that like button below. Leave a question or comment if you have anything to say about my eating or your own eating. You have any questions about certain foods? What's a good nutrition plan to follow? Leave that below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, stay super.